It's simply a matter of effort that helps keep some relationships going strong. However, when all the effort you're putting in feels like it's not working, then it begins to throw off the rhythm of the relationship. You try harder and harder, but it just seems to move further off rhythm to the point you no longer recognize each other or the relationship that you're in. We understand what happens when there's too much blockage in the arteries leading to the heart. It causes a heart attack. The same thing happens when there is something blocking the rhythm of your relationship. Chances are it helps break down the relationship rhythm, and neither one of you know how to clear the blockage. The Relationship Therapy Podcast will help us understand what blocks our rhythm to relationship happiness.
You've tuned into the Relationship Therapy Podcast with Tony Miller Sr., a podcast designed for couples who are married, couples who are dating, and have marriage in their future. We will guide you to the principles that will make your relationship better. Stick around. You might just learn something that will help your relationship last longer, grow stronger, and become healthier. Now, here's your host, Tony Miller Sr.
Hello, everybody. This is your host, Tony Miller Sr., and welcome to another episode of the Relationship Therapy Podcast. We have talked for the last 2 weeks about relationship rhythm. On the first week, we talked of what is relationship rhythm and why is it important. The previous episode we shared, it was talking about finding the rhythm in your relationship. I truly believe that my audience is really picking up on the concept of rhythms in relationships, just based on some of the comments that I've received and some of the feedback that I've gotten. I really think that this concept is really hitting home. In this episode, I am going to be talking about the 4 blockers of rhythm in your relationship. I want to hear some feedback from my listeners as well on this episode, whether there's some blockers that I left out or you disagree with the blockers that I'm using in this episode. My announcer will tell you how to get in touch with me at the end of this episode. So get ready, sit back and relax as we talk about the 4 blockers of rhythm in your relationship. Now that we've set up what we're talking about, and that is the 4 blockers of rhythm in relationships, here's the first blocker. The first blocker of rhythm in relationship is age. Yeah, that's right. You heard it correctly. I say that age is one of the rhythm blockers for our relationships. With age comes multiple diseases or sicknesses that can really put a strain on any relationship. It can sometimes knock the rhythm off and will have both partners trying to rethink their relationship. I said it in an earlier episode that relationships go through different rhythms the longer the mates are together. However, the deeper the love is, the harder the couple works to bring the relationship back in rhythm. Here are some of the things that happen in aging that can totally disrupt relationships. Men typically have reached their sexual peak in their late 20s or maybe early 30s. As men grow older, sexual desire and sex drive decreases while sexual problems increase, leading to less frequent sexual activity. I also understand that there will be some men who have been well in their 60s without experiencing any of the problems that we mentioned earlier. With the recent popularity of medications like Viagra and Cialis, Tadalafil, and many others, it has helped men continue their involvement in sexual activity. On the flip side, women reach their sexual peak a whole lot later than men. The average is somewhere around the to late 50s. And just like men, there are some anomalies to those facts. For some older individuals, sexual activity just becomes too much of an inconvenience. But there are also other reasons that the rhythm gets blocked. Certain medications that are being taken causes mood swings that disrupts the relationship and will cause some issues to the couple's rhythm. Overall, it is still up to the couple to decide how they want their rhythm to flow in their relationship. It doesn't matter the age. It doesn't matter the problems. You just have to make the adjustments when this happens. The second blocker of rhythm in your relationship is a failure to prioritize the relationship. The two people involved in a relationship should value each other enough for them to make their mate a priority. Often that doesn't happen, so the relationship implodes and the couple separates. Someone who cares about you will make that time for you. And if your partner expects you to always adjust your schedule in order to fit their schedule, this should be a sign for you that they may not think of you as a priority. That could really be a cause of concern for the individual. Your schedule and wants and needs are just as important as your mate's. If there are never any compromises, it shows that they don't have you as a top priority. That's just one aspect of failing to prioritize the relationship. Another way happens when your partner doesn't show up for you. It can leave you feeling lonely and neglected. In fact, this is a form of emotional abandonment. I've said it before and I'll say it again. You can do bad all by yourself. Your mate is making you think that you are in this all by yourself. You have needs as well as they do. These needs must be met by the person you want to spend the rest of your life with. Selfish actions and selfish thinking only leads to more blocking of rhythms. The more this happens, the weaker the pulse of your relationship. Here's another sign that they don't prioritize the relationship. They tend to miss all of your special occasions, especially the days that involve you. You very well may be the best thing that has ever happened to them, but they're not treating you that way. When there has been a commitment in relationships, both partners should feel like they have equal say, or at least their thoughts and ideas are being considered. However, when the rhythm is off and there is no priority given, you see that you're not first, but somewhere down the pecking order. And my friend, that's not a good feeling. Here's the third blocker of rhythms in relationships, and that is outside interference. There is nothing more detrimental to a relationship than to have it destroyed by outside interference. This interference can come from so many directions. The sad truth is, more relationships are destroyed from what has happened from outside interference than from inside between the two people in the relationship. When one or both of the individuals are dealing with family pressure or work requirements, it begins to block their normal rhythm or their normal flow in their relationship. If they don't understand that their relationship is ultimately the most important relationship besides the one that they have with God, they will end up losing the fight to maintain that rhythm. No, I'm not saying that you should disregard your family. What I am saying is once you choose to marry someone, they become the focal point of everything you do. These outside entities display too much control over what happens inside of your relationship. Check this out. I once asked two female workers this question. If your spouse and your father were drowning and you could only save one, almost to every female, their answer was their father. That showed me that their father had more influence in their marriage than the man that they said I do to. Here is something else we should already know. Your career is important, but not at the expense of damaging the rhythm in your relationship. Jobs tend to cause stress, especially in high-risk positions. That stress can sometimes find itself in the relationship, and it will make it seem like it has lost the rhythm. It has been interrupted because greater care has not been given to keeping the rhythm flowing. The couple should be careful to not lose their relationship rhythm by letting the outside interference block it. Now we've gotten to the fourth blocker. But before we talk about the fourth blocker, let's recap the first three. The first blocker was age. The second blocker was a failure to prioritize the relationship. And the third blocker was outside interference. The fourth and final blocker to rhythm in your relationship is different religious beliefs. The old saying that says, families that pray together stay together. This could become a major issue when it involves a couple that doesn't have the same religious beliefs. Relationship after relationship has found themselves on the losing end of the rhythm. They have actually given up on what they once said was not only special, but dear to them. It all began when they could not, or at least would not, come to a conclusion or an agreement on the spiritual belief that they would follow together. So the couple decided that they would stay in their own religious or spiritual lanes. And for those who think that that won't be an issue, well, you better think that again. It starts with the couple separating themselves spiritually. And then what happens when children comes along? It causes an even bigger issue. Which partner will win out, or will there continue to be religious drama or religious separation happening in their relationship? All I know is it most definitely will cause a skipping of the rhythm that your relationship should have. Sometimes it's not even which religion or denomination that they disagree on. It could be that one mate is not a believer at all, and the other mate is. That scenario can cause blockage in the rhythm, and if not handled appropriately, the relationship will be over. But also, sometimes what happens, the couple marries, and then one of the mates finds religion, and it seems like they're leaving the other mate behind. It is easy to see how this will cause so many problems. The Bible says in 2 Corinthians 6:14, don't team up with those who are unbelievers. How can righteousness be a partner with wickedness? How can light live with darkness? Too often couples will have to go through this unequally yoked problem. It should have been discussed during the getting to know each other period, but it wasn't. These things are not just little problems, but they later become huge problems in the relationship when the rhythm is all busted up. You always have to think about the children in cases like this. Will the more dominant mate win out, or is it going to be you sacrificing for the sake of the rhythm? that is something to think about. Well, there you have it. We've given you the 4 blockers of rhythm in relationships. I ask if you agree with what we've said. I'd like to hear from you. Or if there are some other blockers that you want to see added or you thought should have been added, go ahead and email me at tmrelationshiptherapy@gmail.com. If you missed it, my announcer will say it at the end of this episode. Well, that's it. Thank you. And as always, in closing, it takes 2 to make a relationship work.
Thank you for listening to the Relationship Therapy Podcast with Tony Miller Sr. We hope you have enjoyed this episode. Tune in next time for more insight on how to make your relationship better. If you have any questions, please email us at tmrelationshiptherapy@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you. Until next time, remember, it takes 2 to make the relationship work.